I'm sorry. Got it. Thank you. Thanks, Kathy. Uh,
Ellen wants to know if she can join, what, a little later, Ellen? Like in a half an hour or something?
Sure.
Okay, Gene, all yours.
Okay, great. All right.
Okay, girl.
So here we are in the boxes, like the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
And our school children, our beautiful school children. I just get upset. But anyway, here we go. September meeting. I think Kathy, you're going to do a roll call, and then we're going to keep track of who joins us a little bit later. Maybe Bob will get on, and or is this Bob down here? No, that's Jim. All right.
Okay.
Bob will join us, and Kevin. All right, and welcome, Candace.
Okay, Jean, Roger,
Here.
Kathy, Kathleen, Carol, Jim, Bob, and Candice.
No Bob yet.
No, Bob.
Not yet, but I'm sure Bob's working on it.
Okay. Yeah, I just talked to him about 2 hours ago, so I don't know. I hope he's there. I have approval of the August minutes, but I'm not sure I ever got them from you, Kathleen.
I didn't do the August meeting minutes because Carolyn did.
Oh, all right.
And-
That's
and
right.
sent them to everybody. So
Okay.
I think,
Yeah,
well, you
that's
know,
right.
why duplicate?
Shall we postpone that until next month?
Yes.
Well,
Is
we
that
all
okay,
got it,
Carolyn?
right? But I mean, we all got Carolyn's minutes, right? We
Yeah.
all have time to read them, so why don't we just approve them?
Oh, okay. All right.
Are
I'm
they-
sorry.
are
I've had
they
a lot of
from-
balls in the air lately. Yeah.
Are they from
I'm
last
sure I
month's
looked at them when I
meeting?
got them. I just. Mhm.
Yeah, they're your
Wait a
meetings
second,
from
wait a minute,
last
wait a
month.
minute. Are they from last month's meeting or the discussion that we had?
Their
Last
last month's
time-
meeting.
The official meeting last month.
Last month? Okay, all right. Well, we need to approve them because we need to do it within 30 days, actually. So they should have gone out by email because we skipped a week, remember, because we couldn't do it last Tuesday. So we just have to remember that the minutes have to be approved within 30 days according to the,
But Kathy's saying that we all received them by email.
Yeah, we all got them. I got them.
Yeah,
that's fine,
I
but
got
they
'em.
have to be approved and
Right.
posted
So if
within 30 days. Is all
Right.
I'm saying.
Well,
so
usually
if
you,
everyone
I mean,
feels
usually,
comfortable. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
usually you approve the minutes at the next meeting, and that's what this is. So
Yeah.
I move we approve the minutes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was going to suggest, Jim. Thank you. I'm sure I read them when I got them in the email. It's a fog. All right.
I seen it.
Okay. So
Does-
Carolyn,
does
would
anybody
you,
know if Adam has them and if he put them in the?
well,
the
that's what
folder?
I was going to ask you is you didn't put them there, right? Correct?
No, Adam puts everything in the folder
No, I do.
for the minutes. Well, he has the minutes.
Oh, okay.
There's a specific folder for the minutes and he usually puts them in
Alright.
there.
Okay. Kathleen Lee, would you send the minutes to me just to make sure I have them?
Sure.
And I will put them in the,
I
I
don't
will
have
put
my
them in the
phone with
open
me.
meetings folder on the city web drive. Yeah,
Okay, I'll send it
I'll
to
be
you
happy to
later.
do that. That's my penance for not remembering that we actually had them. Sorry, guys. All right, good. So we are all in agreement that the minutes are okay from last month, correct? Okay.
Aye.
We didn't,
Aye,
we
aye,
didn't
aye,
really
aye,
vote.
aye. Jim, I know, copying Carolyn, I asked you to kind of look into some of our financial situation. It's pretty straightforward, I
Okay,
think. Do you have anything additional to report?
okay, yeah. I have a treasurer's report for you, yeah.
Great. All right.
Here's what it is, and I'll say that I did talk with Pat Sutpholt, and I'm going to get together with him and George Horty and talk about everything in detail, the processes and all, make sure that we're doing what we need to do to keep the city happy. And so, but they've also were kind enough to give me, or actually it was Carol Zinner who sent me the financial information for the most part. I also got some information from the visitor center as well. So do a little bit of chatting here. So, first thing, the city allotted us $5,000 this year. As of this date, $843 was expended, and so there's $4,157 left in the city account. I have no idea until I meet with them what the $843 was spent on. You guys might know better since you've been around longer. But I will find out if you don't know and if you want to know. So,
We do want to
also
know, and
there's
I
a-
honestly can't
Yeah.
dredge it up in my mind what it
I can't
was.
either.
Maybe
Jim?
some printing costs?
No, I don't think so.
okay,
Jim,
well,
Can you
instead
hear
of guessing at it, I'll just find out.
Sure.
Jim,
Okay. Uh-huh.
yeah, listen,
Yes.
remember, the email that came in, there was like nothing left from last year's fiscal year account,
Right.
but there was money that was taken out of the escrow fund. So I'm wondering if Patrick's getting that maybe mixed up, because when George responded,
No.
he said the money that was taken out of the escrow fund for the medallion. So it's good that you're talking to them, because I think you're
Okay, well,
maybe
we'll-
getting two different perspectives. The money was spent, but I'm thinking it was out of the
Okay.
escrow account.
Okay, well, if they took it out of the city account, and they should have taken it out of the escrow, we can
Yeah,
adjust
it'll
that.
just be a transfer.
Well,
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll look forward to that
Or-
clarification next month.
Or
Yeah.
if they're okay with taking it out of the city account, is that something we wouldn't mind them doing?
Well, it's probably better out of the escrow account, because that's where it came from before. And, we collect money for those medallions,
Okay.
and it goes into the escrow account. It
Okay.
doesn't go into that city account.
Okay.
So from a bookkeeping perspective, it's more correct.
Yeah, but
Okay,
keep in mind that the
so,
medallion, as I understand it, and jump in everybody, the medallion installation cost must be, in a sense, paid back to the city.
Right, and that's
Okay.
part of that.
Well,
That would be
we'll-
part of that total cost.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we'll find out what that $843 was, and if it was that, I'll make sure we correct that. So,
Well,
the
thanks.
escrow account. Speaking of the escrow account is at $7,941 at this point, and I have $50 to
7,000 what?
deposit. $7,941.
Okay.
And I have $50 to be deposited into that account from Carol Nemeth for some T-shirts she sold, as well as a donation. Yeah. So also, there was $2 added to the escrow account by way of, and I'll have to check into that. The city sells some things for us at the visitor center, and they have a monthly report. I know some of you have wondered whatever happens to the things we give to the city that they sell. Well, they have a computer system there that we ring things into, and things that go to the Historic Preservation Commission are the money is transferred into, and I'll have to check whether that goes into the escrow account or into the regular city account. I would hope it goes into the escrow, but I'll make sure of that. And $2 went for the sale of a Lafayette Trail sticker last month. And so you all don't need to worry if you give things to the visitor center to sell that because you never see the money or anything, but they do take care of it. And since I'm there all the time, Lori promised me she'd give me their monthly report, which shows how much goes to us. So we'll have that.
I had
that
no idea
information
we had items for sale at the visitor center that came from the Historic Preservation Commission.
Joe, the only things I know of are the Lafayette Trail stickers and there's some Lafayette Trail T-shirts there.
Great, wonderful.
But if you guys want to, think of other things that are marketable and want to sell, that's a great place to do it. So, it costs you nothing. It has it out in the public eye, and
Yeah, yeah,
and they're generally pretty happy to do that sort of thing. So,
wonderful.
and that's all I have in the way of a report right now. Like I said, I will between now and next month, I will make sure I talk with the city
Right.
employees, and get a really, hopefully crystal clear, idea of where the money goes and all of that. And we'll take it from there.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jim.
And that's the
Kathy,
end
did
of
you
the-
want to did you want to ask Jim a question? I saw you starting to speak.
Who?
Kathy Keene?
No, no.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, thanks, Jim. Well, here we go on the 20 properties, guys.
Oh, boy.
Next item on the agenda. So I heard from 5 of you. Well, I heard from 4 of you, and I count as 5. So I collated the answers, and I'm going to show you what we came up with. And this is, don't assume that I think this is the end decision. This is just a way to prime the pump for a good discussion. I know a couple of you were clear on your criteria. I think it was you, Jim, who said something about it being city-owned, or was it you, Roger?
I think we both did that. I think we both felt
Yeah,
that
which
certain-
is a very
certain properties
interesting-
are already extremely well-known and protected, and
Mhm.
we didn't need to include them.
Which is an interesting consideration in terms of its protection. But also, in the long run, if the city ends up somehow marketing or educating about these 20 properties in some interesting ways, of course, we wouldn't want the Lock House and the Concord Point Lighthouse and Keeper's House to be neglected. So I appreciate that thinking. There was some really interesting thinking that went into the ones I got. So let me bring up the screen where I've collated. Again, this is only 5 of us. I know Bob and Ellen and Kevin. Who am I forgetting?
Carol,
I'm sorry.
Carol.
Yeah, yes.
We didn't
So
get-
you have not gotten any information from me yet. I've been overwhelmingly busy.
Oh,
here.
it's fine, Carol. You're here. That's what's important. Don't
No,
fret
but
over it.
That doesn't mean that I don't have an interest in it and that I won't give you my ideas about that.
I know
just
you will,
more
and that's why this is just discussion.
Okay.
Let me find what I want here. Oh, what have I done with it? I had this already, and now, of course, I don't know what I did with it. Fiddlesticks. Bear with me, guys, here. Here we go. Okay. So what I did was 5 of us responded, as I said. Can everyone see that list?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what I did was I just simply added up the votes. It's pretty, nothing sophisticated about this. And you can see, for example, 5 of us, of those I collated, voted for the Abraham Jarrett Thomas House, and so forth. There were some that were a single vote. There were some that were for, obviously, 3 or 2. And I'm sorry, I was just sort of pressed for time because I had been out of town on the weekend and I just didn't get to collating this. So I was doing it this afternoon. I would have shared it with you ahead of time by email. But anyway, this is the list. And then what I've done down here is I've shown you, I should have done it in spreadsheet. It would have been better. But probably none of you are surprised at the 6 that got 5 votes. And the 6 are the American Legion, the Courier House, the Elizabeth Rogers House, the Old Ordinary, St. John's Episcopal Church, and Spencer Silver. There was kind of a couple of you put the Carriage House at Spencer Silver and the Mansion together. A couple of you separated them out, but they obviously got, of the folks that expressed their list, they got 5 votes. 5 votes. And then going down in for 5 locations or structures that had 4 votes, you can see there. Excuse me, tickle in my throat, sorry. And then going down, we had the 3-vote range was a little more spread out with 7 votes.
Excuse me, Jean, read them out loud because Jim is on the phone and he can't see them.
Oh,
that's
I'm
right.
sorry. Of course. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim, of the 6 structures that had 5 votes, in other words, a vote for each list that I was adding up, they were the American Legion, the Abraham Jarrett Thomas House, Courier House, which, as you all know, has never been documented, the Elizabeth Rogers House, the Old Ordinary, St. John's Episcopal Church, and Spencer Silver Mansion. And as I mentioned a moment ago, Spencer Silver, some of you put the Carriage House in with it as a single choice. Some of you separated that out as one of your 20. Going down in the list with 5 structures with 4 votes, we have the Avenel, I never know how to pronounce that, Goldsboro House. We have the Havre de Grace Methodist Church, the John O'Neill House, the Silverstein House, and the Vosbury House. And just jump up in, or if you want me to repeat stuff. And then going down the list further with 7 structures with 3 votes. Again, this is pretty arbitrary because I'm only considering 5 of the 9 of us. So I don't want anybody to think that they're being excluded and the expressions of their interest are ignored. Bayou Hotel, this is the group of 7 that had 3 votes. Bayou Hotel, Carver House, Henry Harrison Hopkins House, Hitchcock House, the St. James AME Church, the Seneca Warehouse Cannery, and Vanderveer Mansion. And then 7 structures had 2 votes. The McCombs House, and I'm always unclear. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute. The Barnes Hopper House, Concord Point Lighthouse Keeper House and Lighthouse, the Havre de Grace Opera House, the Malin Apartments, the Maryland Building, and the Thomas Hopkins House. And just a couple quick remarks on my part. I was kind of surprised, and I thought some of your thinking was really delightful, and we can all share what we were thinking about. But no one mentioned the Moore Family Homestead, which I thought was interesting. I didn't have it on my list either, but it just jumped out at me. Yeah. And I think we all feel pretty strongly about the Courier House, even though it's never been documented. I thought that was interesting that came out on top. I think all the other top vote structures will surprise no one. So yeah, so that's what I put together. And maybe Carol, Nemeth, we could start with you. What do you think? Unmute yourself.
What do I think about this list?
Yeah, or anything, anything.
Yeah, I think it's that the first thing that comes to my mind is that the Courier House definitely needs to be on that list.
Right.
That I think that's Jim and I were talking about some houses on the hill too. Now is the let's see, now the house that was just sold, that isn't there some kind of protection on that house?
That's National Trust. If
Right.
you're talking about Sion Hill.
Yeah.
Zion
Yeah.
Hill has a Maryland Environmental Trust easement of 90
And
acres.
it's a part of the National Trust. It's
So that's
it's-
already protected in its
it's
own.
already protected.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the only national landmark property in Hartford County.
That's right.
Hartford County, yeah.
And then
But
there
it's now in city limits, but it's not in our National Park Service defined national historic district. So that was one of my criterias. I was just staying in the district.
Okay.
It's completely arbitrary though,
But then the houses within Bully Rock, the historic buildings, they would not even
Well,
that would
Mhm.
not be possible, or?
I mean, the Blenheim House.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Right.
Mount Pleasant.
I
There's
mean,
two historic-
obviously, the Blenheim House and Mount Felix and Zion Hill are important houses.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So should we consider those? Is that, what do you think about that, everybody?
I think
I-
it
I
might be a
wish
good
we-
idea to include something that's outside the historic district, just so that the city realizes that there's buildings worth protecting other places in the city as well as where the historic district is.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, when you're limited to 20 and there's really 3 or 4 outstanding choices that are out there, up there, and since we have no idea what the list is for, I don't have any idea of what we should do. So,
Right. Well, I don't know, Carolyn, Zinner, jump in here. If you have a sense of, I know this request was put to the Historic Preservation Commission before you.
Yeah, I had asked Shane, but he didn't have
You're
an
break-
answer yet. What the purpose
You're
of it
breaking up,
was.
Carolyn. I don't know, maybe.
So when I saw Roger's list and, he talked about some of the different structures, I thought he made a really good point, because those structures, I think, they're really outside the city's control anyway, like the bridge and some of the other structures that he mentioned. So I think that we could eliminate them at this point in terms of not actually knowing the purpose of what the city's wanting to do with this, but considering the conversations we've had in the past in protecting properties from demolition and making sure that they're maintained. So Jim, I understand what you're saying, and the Blenheim Lane Mansion, that one is being very well cared for at this point. The huge colonial that sits on my side of Bully Rock, I don't know what's going to happen to that. There was some talk years ago about maybe someone buying it and turning it into a bed and breakfast, and that just died on the vine. So
Yeah, that's the name. The name of that is Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant. Okay, thanks, Kathy.
Mhm.
So
That's the one that has no electricity? It's Mount
it
Pleasant?
had electricity because they used to use it as the sales office.
Okay.
When they
Yeah.
first opened Bully Rock, it was the sales office, but
well, the one I would talk about would be the one that's probably most at risk is Mount Felix, because they have plans to redevelop their property into a number of different uses, and keeping that house there might be the one that's
Well,
most
that is
likely
their plan.
to suffer.
when they submitted their concept plan to the city, the single concept plan, those houses were staying. The house and the winery, I don't know about the barn. And then since he had that fire, it didn't seem to be the major fire. They seemed to get it out pretty quickly, but those 2 properties were staying. He's not taking them down. That's not part of his plan.
Okay, well, then maybe we don't have to look after.
Or we can, we can put maybe an addendum or something to this to say that, or have, this might end up just being a dialogue with the city when we turn in the list and say there are other properties that are not within the historic district that we would like considered. So how do we go about that? Or, what will that serve the purpose that you're looking for in terms of identifying these initial 20 properties?
I think we should back up for a minute and I'm sorry, Jim, did you want to speak?
I just say I would agree with that, but once again, we go back to, we don't even know what they want the list for. So it's hard to know what, if I was working at my old job and they said, we need you to write a program, and that was it. We need to write 5 programs, and you don't know what they're for. You just don't know how to do the best job doing it. So I think we give the 20 and then we find out what they're planning on doing with them and then take it from there.
Well, and I think that's true. And I think we have more than 20 here. So if we can at least prioritize them based on what the commission feels is the most important or the most possibility of a threat or whatever criteria you want to use, and then you can support that criteria. And if it doesn't match the city, I mean, this is work that we can do until they finally come up with an answer. And
Yep.
it allows us to at least prioritize whether it's the number of votes or just a discussion of each property and the value that we feel that it has, or the group feels that it has. Because we only have, we had five responses to the votes, and we still have 4 outstanding. So this list could change in terms of priority.
I am.
Yeah, I just asked people to, if they had time to consider a list. This is only 5 of us. I think, we just have to be realistic. The mayor asked for a short list of local landmarks. I think we just need to produce it and consider that a first step. That's where we have to go, I think, because as I said in my email to all of you, really, most of these properties aren't threatened. They're too special. Nobody's going to tear down St. John's Episcopal Church. This list is just not a threatened list. It isn't.
Yeah, but somebody could want to put a big shiny bright sign in front of it.
Well, but we were on that. We were on that and we stopped it.
I understand, but I'm saying nothing is safe.
You're right, Jim. I mean, heavens to Betsy. Yes. Yeah, I know. We've lost a lot of wonderful structures in town already, and we want to stop that. But I think we just need to bite the bullet and come up with a list of 20, as Carolyn just said a moment ago. And we can, we can compose a letter explaining that this is, this was a difficult decision to come up with only 20 in a town that's just, I just took a long walk today in town, and I still discover things. And I know, like all of you, I've been learning about our town's history for years. So,
I agree. We should give them a list, and like I say, we keep framing this in terms of something that's going to get protected, but we don't even know if that's what the list is for.
no.
So
That's true.
I have no reason to believe it's for any other reason than to protect them. I'm not sure why they would want that list of the most
Well,
important structures.
I sort of got the impression that it was kind of an initial step, and it was also just a kind of more of a, marketing our town sort of thing. I don't know. What do you think, Kathy Keene?
I don't know any more than you or Jim knows. I think maybe, why do we think they want to protect them? They've never protected any other structure. And I don't know. The marketing the town, that's a good point, Jean. Some like maybe structures to emphasize as far as marketing the town. I never thought of it that way.
So
and-
one of the things, if I
Right.
may say, one of the things that we were concerned about was that you have 20 that we said these are the most important, which what we were afraid of is the other side of that. If these are the 20 that we really want to preserve or and be protected, then does that mean that the rest of them that are not on this list, you can just do whatever you want? And that is why initially we didn't want to give a list, because we thought that we were giving them carte blanche to do whatever they wanted with the other structures that were not on that list.
Can I interrupt for a minute?
Yeah.
I wanted to say part of the way I looked at it was kind of through a marketing point of view. And like, what if you had some relative coming into town for the first time and you wanted to drive around and show them the town? What would you show them? And of course, the Lafayette Trail is pretty much, a list of what you would show an out-of-town person. And the other idea I had is that we shouldn't say that this is a list of the 20 most important. Let's just say it's a list of important properties. It's an initial list of important properties. Let's not try to say these are the most important, because obviously there are, another 20 and another 20 after that. either, in the historic district or outside of it. Maybe not even, again, not even older properties. Nobody really, of the list we have, nobody really put a more contemporary property. And when I say contemporary, I mean like 1920. I included the house up on Adams because I thought we should maybe emphasize different parts of the town. Most of these properties are right, on Union or on Washington.
Yeah, that's why I put the Barnes Hopper House and a couple of others on.
We need to have some properties that point out that there are important properties all over the town in different parts of the town. And another
Could
thing
I just jump in for a
looked at-
minute? Excuse me, Roger. Kevin's on. I just want to welcome Kevin on. Hi,
Okay.
Kevin.
Jean, how are you? Sorry I'm late.
No
Hi,
problem. Better late than never. We're just having a discussion about the landmark properties that Bill Martin asked us to identify. And I got some lists from 5 members and I just collated them and I was reviewing them earlier. Can you see my screen share?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. Let's jump back to Roger then.
Okay, the
Sorry.
last thing I wanted to say is that another thing that I think Jim and other people on their list have pointed out some of the structures in town that are part of African-American history.
Yes.
I think the colored school was on one list and one of the churches was on one list. I included on mine the little alley house on Strawberry Lane, which
Yes.
is an example of most of the African Americans way back probably lived in these alley houses. And
Yes.
this one is it's not exactly preserved, but if you look at the photograph in the historic trust listing from 1977, and you look at it now, it pretty much hasn't changed. It's a pretty good example. So there may be examples of different parts of the population in town. You might want to have a rich merchant's house, but you might also want to have an alley house.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think it was Jim or you, Roger, who put the First National Bank on, which is a gorgeous structure. And it was, I think, only on one person's list. I
Well,
will jump
if
in.
anybody has gone up into the back room of that where the bank president had his office and looked
Yeah.
out that window, you could see why that might be a very important building. But I don't
Absolutely.
even think that's accessible anymore.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, anybody else want to jump in? Kevin, you want to say something?
Sorry, my cat just got into something she shouldn't have. So
Oh dear. Well, we're all animal lovers, so we'll
Yeah.
be patient with that. Yeah, I was going to say something in response to what Roger just said, but while I'm trying to think about what it was, you want to comment on anything, Kevin, in terms of our criteria or something else?
I really like what Roger just said. I live very near the house I believe he's talking about. And yes, the houses on the alleyway were probably all African American. So
Mhm.
I really believe that should be included.
Well, if I could just share something that's not directly commission business, but you know that the Historic Havre de Grace Foundation has applied for Maryland Historical Trust funds to do some additional documentation of historic structures in town. And there will be a huge emphasis on the telling the story of African-American life in Havre de Grace. So I'm quite confident that the Colored School Museum will be done, as well as some of the alley houses that have been mentioned. Unfortunately, none of those have been documented yet. What has been documented, which several of us had on our list, is the St. James AME Church. So just commenting on that.
And Jean, when you say documented, you're referring to the Maryland list of, what's
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Mhm. The
Yeah,
inventory,
the inventory of historic homes, yeah, right.
correct. Hmm.
I'd like to say something about our, all these structures on all these 5 lists. Maybe we could, once we come up with our first 20, and I think I sent this out as an email. And when I do agree with you're saying that we should send a letter to, letter of explanation. And then after that, we should submit subsequent lists. And really, all these houses that are on our list ought to be included, because to even come up with 20, like I know for my own self, and I'm sure other people had this dilemma, I had to eliminate a lot of important structures to come up with 20.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then other people might have included them on their list that I didn't
Sure.
put on my list. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and as
definitely
everyone's pointed out, we don't understand what the point of this is exactly, which makes it difficult to make smart
Mhm.
decisions. But I think nonetheless, we need to produce this list.
Yeah, after we do this first 20 list, then we can talk about, submitting subsequent lists.
Um,
So where do we go from here?
Yeah, what's the timeline?
I would say what we do from here is I'll continue to talk to Shane about him, seeing if he can get any guidelines for us in terms of the list. But we still have, what did we say? We have 5. So we still have 4 people to hear from. So Jean can continue to collate the responses in terms of what we have. And meanwhile, I'll talk to Shane again to see if he's had any luck at some of the admin meetings or whatever that they have. I think they had that maybe once a week or once a month with COVID. I don't know how often they're meeting, and some of these internal meetings that they used to have to talk about things that would eventually go on the agenda at council. But certainly this could be brought up because the right people are there. See if we can get some better guidelines in terms of what exactly they're looking for. And they may just, maybe basically user's choice. It's like, whatever you think. So we may not get really well-defined guidelines, but we may. So I'll just keep asking. But in the meantime, we still have 4 more people to hear from, and collate those responses.
So I guess I'm suggesting maybe we get anybody else who wants to respond, and then maybe come up with the list at the next meeting.
Sure.
Unless we suddenly find out that there's a reason and that throws everything into a turmoil that we have to take a little longer to come up with a list. But
and that's possible, but I think you all have been thinking about this for a long time, and that this is probably a pretty strong list from your perspective in terms of important properties. And that I don't know that we would be that far off if we had to regroup a little bit and redefine some of the properties. But I can't imagine that you haven't already given this a lot of thought in terms of the importance of these structures. And
Well,
that
we have given a lot of thought. I thought that there was a urgency in the mayor wanting this list. So
yeah,
I
but
thought-
that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was 2 years
I
ago.
know, I know, I
Yeah,
know.
I think we failed to act. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I think the sooner we can get him at list, at least he sees that the participation is happening and we have an opportunity for a better dialogue with the city.
Can we
And then,
get a deadline for that, Jean or Carolyn? Can we get a deadline for that list? Like, maybe we just need a drop dead date, like by
Well,
this.
I wanted to do it tonight, but clearly that's not happening.
Right.
I think we should do it by next month. I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd be happy to start to craft a letter and share it with everyone out, explaining that, and I know Bill Martin and the rest of the city staff know this, that historic preservation is a very, it's a moving target. Different people value different things. We learn new things about the history of the community. We're more sensitive to certain things. Like now we're discovering that so much of the more modest housing is disappearing, and it's important to get that vernacular housing, to get housing that shows, people who are underrepresented, such as African Americans. So I mean what is historic obviously changes over time.
Mhm.
We all know that, but I think we need to do this. I think we need to produce it in October, and that's the way I feel about it.
Ellen would like to call in. She's having a problem getting in, getting the link on the computer.
Okay.
She doesn't have the link, and I think it's too late for them to send you an email with the link, Ellen, but maybe because that would mean that they would have to get off what they're doing to send you another
No,
link.
I can do it. I can do it. Someone else
Can?
talk for a minute. Someone else talk.
Okay, great. Yeah, because
Well, tell her it's in Carolyn's email.
Okay.
If she gets Carolyn's email, all she has to do is click on it.
Yep,
Yeah.
because that's what I would send her back, is that email with the link.
Yeah. Because that was very easy. I just clicked on Carolyn, your email, the link that just opened right up. Rather than having her try to type something in,
Just send it to her phone. She's not using her phone for this, I'm sure.
Does she
Send it-
use text? Does she use text?
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
she could
does.
type in the link.
No. The link is you don't want to type the link in. Should I
Right.
send it to her
Oh.
email or her phone?
email. She
All right.
said she preferred email.
All right, that's what I'm doing.
All right, Jean's gonna resend it. Okay.
I'll keep an eye out for her coming in on the panel.
Oh, Jeff, I
Thanks,
didn't
Jeff.
know you were
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
he's under IT support here.
I know he is, but I thought he had gone.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Whoever's talking to Ellen, tell her I just sent her the link.
Okay.
All right. Okay, back. So we're all in agreement that we're going to produce this thing in October,
Yes, in
Yes.
October.
and we're going to accompany it with a letter, which of course we will obviously, Carolyn, you will review the letter and you will share anything additional that might assist in our, communicating adequately with the city on this. And we'll hear from the four. I'll pop over to Bob's and sit down with him and see if he can, make his opinions known. So that means Ellen and who am I forgetting? I'm sorry, my brain is tired.
Kevin,
Bob.
Ellen,
Kevin's
Bob.
yeah, Kevin knows he has, and
Yes.
Ellen and Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Carolyn, do you want to share anything with us from the city council?
Yeah, there was, Ron sent a message asking about the Moore Family Homestead. So I went to Joe Conaway and Tim, and there is an RFP out to power wash the shed and the exterior of the house. And actually, it sounds like they are getting ready to repair all three porches. Originally, I thought it was just the front porch, but Tim said it was all three porches. So he said as soon as the cost comes in and they can evaluate it, he will let me know, but the RFP is out, so there's some progress being made. He didn't mention anything about painting the interior, but he has already committed to that, so I don't keep bugging him about that, so it's
Okay.
Ellen is still trying. She said I'm sorry to interrupt, but she said that it's temporarily busy or unavailable. Can you give me the phone number just right now? And I'm just going to tell her how to dial in. What's the phone number?
Oh,
it
God.
should be on that email. Did you send the whole email?
No, I just heard the link. Okay, here it is. 301
Okay, Ellen, it's 301.
715
715.
8592. She did fine with her smartphone last time. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, did you get that? 301-715-8592.
You got that, Ellen? Okay, all right, great, bye. Thank you.
She's going to need to know the meeting number and the password.
When you,
I have a feeling we're not gonna see Ellen this meeting.
okay,
Well, no, she's calling the number. All she's it's going to ask her what's the meeting number, and then it's going to ask her something you don't have to answer, and then it's going to ask for the password.
What's the password in case she calls me back?
I just put it in the chat, Gene. All the info's in the chat. Meeting ID and passcode phone number.
I will.
I don't understand. We have to take individual responsibility to read the emails and to get to the meeting. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Does
I'm
everybody
losing
know what
patience.
the chat button is? Just click that on and you'll see all the information.
Thank
Hold
you, Carolyn, whoever did that.
Ellen, honey, get on the email and it'll,
Yeah, I put everything in the chat column for everybody.
She can't see the chat until she's connected.
Yeah, no, I mean, for you guys, if you need to text it to her.
But
or send it to her.
Carol's connected.
Carolyn, can read it to her? Oh, please. All right. Okay, let's go on with the meeting then. Shane wrote to me and to Carolyn that he didn't really have anything this month. Is that correct, Carolyn? Or if you have an update on that?
Yes, the only thing was that reference that you had given later on your agenda,
Yeah.
that he doesn't think that's the most accurate, but he didn't have a chance to look at the
Yeah,
latest state regulations.
Yeah.
But he knows that's on the list to do.
Good, okay. Any other property? I noticed that big house. I was out walking today, and that big house with a giant wraparound porch on the corner of South Washington and,
Fountain.
Mountain.
yes,
Next
thank you.
to the funeral home?
That's the
No,
Smith.
no, she's talking about the one block over from, south from that. It's
Right,
under-
and
300 block.
auction.
right, the auction, it's gonna be auctioned, they're starting at 200,000.
Oh, really? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathleen.
What's the
Anyway,
address? What's the address?
the south east corner of Washington and Fountain.
It's the White
big
House, the wraparound porch.
Wonderful wraparound porch across the
Oh,
house.
I know which one you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be auction. I knew those people were selling it, you
Oh, you
know.
did?
That's across from a property that sold for 400,000 plus. And they're starting at 200,000, which I think they should start around 350.
Mhm.
Wow, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's a nice house.
It's a
It
big
is
house.
Old town.
When is the auction? Do you know?
October the 2nd.
Thank you.
And
might
any
be able to
other,
get a good deal on it.
Yeah, I like to go to auctions to see who's there.
yeah,
I'm sure you do too, Kathleen.
I love it.
Yeah.
any other property news from anybody?
Mm.
Anything that they noticed in town that,
Well, the Matilda O'Neill house, not the Matilda O'Neill house, the Hitchcock house, looks like it's almost finished.
oh, great, wonderful,
It looks real good.
Mhm.
excellent,
What's
excellent.
going on with the Henry Wright House? Right.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Sitting there.
Nothing's happening there.
Yeah, there's nobody working there.
Has anybody looked in the windows? Is he doing any work on the interior?
They're not
of-
doing any work on the interior.
No. Nothing's happening for a long time, weeks.
Hmm.
Well, I was told that they only had a limited amount of money every year to work on it.
Oh,
So they
it's-
stabilized the outside and now we have to wait for them to get more money to start working on the inside.
okay.
Wow. Okay, no other juicy gossip or otherwise about
There's
property?
always juicy gossip.
We'll move on to item 4. Go ahead, Kathleen. Let us know how
Oh.
your presentation went.
Oh, you mean number 5, Lafayette Trail and Districts
Yeah,
update.
I just finished 4.
So,
Sorry.
yeah, I don't know if then anybody saw the presentation that Julie, mostly Julie gave about the app. I think it went over really well, and I think she's done a wonderful job with it. And mainly I just talked
Hey,
about,
don't hide your light under a bushel, girl. You wrote the thing.
I mean,
It's great.
yeah, I did all the text. Yeah, I
I
did.
know you did, so don't be shy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But I took the opportunity to, to promote our medallions that are marking the Lafayette
Oh,
Trail.
good. Oh,
And
wonderful.
they've already been, the city council's already, they got a talk by Ron, and there was, he even took one of the heavy things in to show the council. That was all
Oh,
done.
yeah, I
but that was a
remember.
while
I
back.
remember.
That was
Yeah.
a while back, so
Yeah.
I felt like they needed a little update, and it was an opportunity, to talk to whoever's watching it. So anyway, I gave that presentation about the plaque, and I handed out this brochure right here
Mhm.
is the one that Historic Preservation Commission published. The original one, this was designed by Laurie Dawson, who works in DPW department, and it was printed by the Office Center. And we didn't get very many copies. I don't know what they got, but after I gave my talk, I went to the visitor center and I found out that there was only and then I called Ron, and there's only a few left, like less than 10 probably.
Ooh.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
just a few
good.
left. So I'm going to make a motion later, but to tell you about this plaque, this brochure, we need to order more.
Mhm.
So I
Sure.
did a lot of groundwork. I reviewed what the city requires us to do. And it says that I should first check to make sure see if the city can do the job.
Mhm.
So I contacted
Yeah.
Adam, and he said they can't print it on glossy brochure quality paper. It would have to be like plain paper. So that's not going to work.
No.
So then I went to Risa Laird, which is what the next step, and she connected me immediately to Sandy Ayers, who's procurement office. Sandy has worked with Ron in the past. She remembered this brochure. She was really helpful. So I told her, I said, I've talked to the Office Center. They're the ones that printed it before. And they said it would cost about $250 to print 250 of these, about $1 a piece.
That seems
And
kind of steep to me. $1 a piece.
Does.
yeah, he said it was 50 cents for each side, and it's two sides.
Ah, okay.
I thought it was pretty reasonable, but
Well, you have more experience printing stuff than I do.
yeah. So I told Sandy Ayers that, and she talked to Patrick, and she called me back and she said, it's fine. Patrick is fine with just having the Office Center do the job. And since it's $250, it was below, I don't know what the amount is, but if it's above a certain amount, you have to get 3 estimates.
Sure.
So I wasn't necessary to do that, thank goodness. So I make a motion that we spend approximately $250 to pay the Office Center out of our regular budget
Mhm.
to get 250 more of these brochures.
I second
I
it.
second it.
Thank you.
You can have 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I think Carol Nemeth, you were slightly ahead of Ms. Lee over there. You got that in the minutes,
Yes.
Ms. Lee? All right. Okay. All in favor of Kathy's motion to spend approximately $250 out of our regular budget to have 250 medallion order. These are for ordering the medallions.
Yeah, these are the ones that have the application on the
Right.
inside, and people fill this out.
Right.
And, well, let's go ahead and vote, and then I'll finish talking.
So do I hear a vote on that motion? All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Kathy, you can go ahead and do that. Thank you for doing all that legwork.
Oh, you're welcome. Do we have a quorum? Is 5 a quorum for passing a
believe
law?
so.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to tell the commission is we've run into this problem with these medallions. People are wanting to buy them, but they're wanting to put them other places that aren't on the Lafayette Trail. Okay, so this really may upset me. I talked to Ron and Judy, who really I'm very grateful that Ron and Judy are going to go ahead and handle this. Oh, and when I have this new thing printed, I'm going to just change it. I have to edit it to delete the word chairman after Ron Browning's name, because the applications will still go to Ron Browning's house. And then,
Could we hold up on that and have a discussion about that?
well, he's no longer the chairman. All I'm going to do is eliminate his name. I mean, eliminate the word chairman.
Yeah, but he's not a member
But
of the Historic Preservation Commission any longer, and I don't think,
Wait, he's not.
I don't think.
No,
his-
but you don't have to be a member. You don't necessarily have to be a member to help the commission, to do things with the commission, to do things for the commission. We've done it in the past. We've had people, outsiders, do things for the commission. So, I mean, unless, you know, I feel like,
Well,
I mean, no,
how does
that-
the money, did they send him the money?
Yes, the money goes to Ron. It's made out in the historic, Havre de Grace Historic Preservation Commission, the check. They deposit the check. Then Judy orders all the plaques. We do it as 6 of them at a time, because then the city, they have to rent a machine to put them in the sidewalk, they just installed 6 of them, and it took 8 hours to install these. So if we have 6, we can't have any more than 6, but we can't have any less than 6 to make it worthwhile. And that's why it costs $450 for each medallion. So people write a check to Historic Preservation Commission, and then I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of what he does with it. Because then he has to buy then Judy orders the plaques and
Right.
sends all the money in. And then which is $400 each, because the $50 for each medallion goes to installation. And then, let's see. So then what does he do? Maybe you could check with that exactly, Jim, because the people.
Kathy,
I think he gives it, they have to give the invoice so the check can be cut. They have to give it to the city.
So
That's what happened. That's what happened with the most recent ones, that right around the time that Ron left, and Judy had the invoice and she had already sent it in. So they just need to see that. And then they write the check. But it comes out of the escrow account, because that's where he was putting
Right.
that's where he was putting the money. But they cut the check for the company that's making those
Who does? City? The
city.
city? Okay. Yeah, because it costs $2,700 to get 6 medallions. So anytime we order, if our commission decides to order some more from our escrow account, that's how much it costs, $2,700.
excuse me, before we get into the mechanics of this, which is of course important, it was my understanding that Ron and Judy were only doing this temporarily. And you might notice I have on the agenda volunteers for the medallion project. So I really honestly, as grateful as we are for their volunteering, I think it ought to be a member of the commission. That's my personal feeling. Maybe I should have discussed this with others before this meeting, but that's just what I think.
I think that Ron should, Judy should train one of us, or a
Yeah,
bunch
that's
of us
what I'm getting at.
to
That's
do that.
exactly what I'm
Yeah, I
getting
mean, it's nice of them to volunteer, but they're not
Absolutely.
members of the commission anymore.
at. Right. Yep. Thank you. So why don't we just, if people don't have other points of view, why don't we just make a goal that by the end of 2020, the administration of the medallion project will be handled by a committee of one or two or whatever of commission members. And it's good it's coming up now because of the reprinting of the brochure so that there's clarification. Just as a little aside, I asked Carolyn to set up a mailbox for the Historic Preservation Commission in City Hall.
Okay, good.
I personally believe that that ought to be our address. And so for things like this or anything else, our memberships, I know Ron set up some memberships for the commission several years ago. All that ought to go to our address in City Hall.
Mhm.
That's my feeling. But again, open discussion.
Well, that's great. I agree with that.
Now,
I agree too.
Yeah, what would Kathy put on the brochure then?
Yeah, because if we don't,
Contact.
I mean, if we're gonna get 250 of them, I
Uh-huh.
mean, should we just go ahead and
can
take our
just be-
time on, I mean, we could
No.
go ahead.
I would suggest that it just be addressed to the Medallions Committee, Havre de Grace Historic Preservation Commission, 700 Pennington Avenue, City Hall. Just,
Well, I mean, but so who's gonna take it over?
well, we don't know that yet.
But if
Well,
we're
and
gonna
that's
start,
that way. If you use an address at City Hall, that doesn't matter who is the person because they'll go to City Hall to get it.
That's right. And it's the medallions.
It's
committee.
not a great idea to have people's names on these things
No.
because people come and go.
That's right. Yeah, I agree.
so what should I, then, I'm gonna have to edit this. So mail this,
Is Carolyn still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Carolyn? So how long would it take to know what the to know what our box would be called so that if we used an address at City Hall?
Right now, the boxes, there's a mailroom. When you turn to the left, as if you were going into the city council room, there's, before you get to that little hallway, there's a door and that's where the mailroom is. And the mailroom is open until 5 o'clock. It gets locked at 5 o'clock. There's a box set up and we are on the far left, the bottom cubby. And it just says,
So-
I think it just says HPC for Historic Preservation Commission. And right above it is the
Okay.
Ethics Commission. And we're the only two commissions that have mailboxes because we're the only two that ask for them. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
well then, that's
Jim, the
the
reason I
name we
asked-
should use.
Yeah.
so the address would be Havre de Grace Historic Preservation Commission, what City
Hall.
Hall's that?
Pennington
The
Avenue.
medallion committee
Yeah.
and then 700 Pennington Avenue.
Attention Medallion Committee,
Yes.
or,
Mhm.
and then Pennington, what is it? What's the number? Something Pennington Avenue.
700.
700?
Yeah.
900? Was 700?
700.
And then it's the box number or not?
There's no
Just-
box number.
No, it's not
Oh,
that, it's not
Just
that
a
big.
little
deal.
sorting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, the address is 711 Pennington
Oh,
Avenue.
sorry.
711.
Sorry.
Ah,
Sorry, I
okay.
knew it was 700 block. Thank you. I was just looking it up myself. Yeah, the reason I asked Carolyn for a mailbox was that I thought we could leave things for each other sometime. It just makes, sort of you're driving downtown, you pick up something, a report or a whatever. And so, but now this will be nice for also US mail we might get, like
Right.
these, medallion applications and checks. And anything else, I wrote to Ron and asked that that the membership, that we change the memberships to City Hall too. For Preservation Maryland, there's two other things, I think. Okay, great. So is that enough from us about medallions, Kathy?
Gene, I
Yeah.
just had one, I wanted to ask you, why would someone want to buy a medallion for $450 and not have it in front of one of the,
Oh, that's what I
Any
wanted
other
to think.
problems?
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
Roger.
yeah.
Thank you, Roger. So this has come up. The medallions, the purpose of the medallions is to mark the trail. The
Yeah.
Lafayette and the Fleur de Lis goes in the direction of the trail. So it came up with this last 6 of them, and it's going to come up again, that people want to buy a medallion, but they want to put it where they want to put it. Well, we can't have them all over the place in Havre de Grace. They have to be on the trail if they have the Lafayette Trail on them and the Fleur de Lis. So, and I saw 2 of them weren't on the trail. That's done now. We
Now,
can't
do they
change.
want them on other preferred historic properties, or do they want them on their own property?
Well, in the case, these 2 cases that we have, one of them was Alan Fair wanted one to honor Ezra Berger, and he wanted it in front of Grawl Alley. Well, that sidewalk is not on the trail, and that was put there with the Fleur de Lis facing Grawl Alley. The other one is on Pennington. It's right in front of that side door that goes into Joe Retro, and it's dedicated to McSpadden, or I don't know who he is, that whoever, I don't even know who bought it, but it's
It's
dedicated
the people who
to
own
this-
the dry cleaners in Havre de Grace.
Yes, yes. So it's dedicated to that, and the plaque is sitting right in front of that side door with the Fleur de Lis pointing at the door. Okay, so those are 2 of our medallions that aren't on the actual trail. So we can't keep letting this happen. I mean, I was
Well,
really upset.
how many properties on the trail don't yet have a medallion?
Oh, a lot of them. Well, the medallion doesn't have to be in front of a property. It just has to be somewhere on the trail.
Oh,
But this
okay.
is it. People want to buy them. So I talked to Judy and Ron about it. I said, we cannot do this. These medallions can't be put willy-nilly all over town. And they agreed. I said, so we already have 2 that aren't on the trail, and I don't want to see that happen again. So what we've decided to do is when somebody says they want a plaque and they don't want to put it on they want to put it somewhere that's not on the trail, we can go ahead and buy a plaque for them, and they can still be the same, money would be the same, $450, but the plaque would be different. It wouldn't have a Fleur de Lis on it. It wouldn't say the Lafayette Trail on it. It would have some other type of design, like maybe a little sailboat or duck or something like that. And then it would have what they wanted, this plaque sponsored by, they would put whatever words they wanted on there. But it wouldn't say the Lafayette Trail, and it wouldn't have a Fleur de Lis. So we would still be doing it for the Historic Preservation Commission would still be doing it, but it's, I don't know. I thought that was the best solution to it.
I
Because
think
that
that's an
way-
excellent solution.
Oh, thank you. Because see, we don't want to put people off.
Right.
And
I know.
people want to spend
And-
$450. They want to put it where they want to put it. But we
Oh.
want to encourage them to put it on the trail if possible.
I don't have the brochure in front of me. What does the
Mhm.
brochure say?
It says, be a part of history.
No,
Sponsor.
what does it say about the location of the medallions?
Oh, it says, the medallion will be installed along the Lafayette Trail in a location of your choosing or where available.
That's not very clear.
Kind of
No,
vague.
that's not
Yeah,
clear at all.
It's kind of vague. That or available makes it sound like anywhere. So I
Yeah,
think
No,
that might
on
have
the
to be
trail.
changed.
No, it says the medallion will be installed along the Lafayette Trail in a location of your choosing or where available along the 3-mile trail. So it has to
Along
be
the
on
3-mile trail. Okay, it does say that. Okay.
Yeah, it does say that.
how about changing what's the initial, start the sentence again, would you please?
This beautifully crafted 12-inch medallion is made of solid bronze. It can be engraved in honor of, in memory of, or sponsored by. The medallion will be installed along the Lafayette Trail in a location of your choosing, or means a location of your choosing on the trail.
Mhm. I would
Or where
suggest adding
available.
a
But
sentence.
it says on the trail, right? It doesn't say, it's not implied. It absolutely says on the trail.
I can see where that could be misconstrued, because it does say installed along the Lafayette Trail in a location of your choosing. So
Right. That's
to me,
Yeah, I think you need to work on the wording. I think it needs to be very clear that the
Yeah.
medallions are only for placement on the trail.
so I don't know what then. this other thing that we're talking about.
Oh, the substitute. if it's not on the
Substitute.
Trail with the sailboat or whatever on the.
I mean,
medallion.
the substitute medallion.
I think, honestly, I think that a different medallion ought to be treated as a different program. I think it'll just get everybody nuts if you try to sell or market them on the same brochure. I think the other medallions should just be marketed separately. That's my view.
Yeah,
I
I agree with
agree
Jean.
with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with Jean. I think it's, it's specifically for the Lafayette Trail. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
So then when people, like we already have, I think Alan Fair wants to put a medallion marking the Seneca Cannery, but he wants it there in front of the cannery. So he's already gotten this one other one that he wanted to dedicate to Ezra Berger. That's been done. So that's when that came up, I said, well, maybe we could just get a medallion, but it doesn't say the Lafayette Trail on it.
That sounds like a good idea. It looks just like the Lafayette Trail medallion, but it doesn't.
I mean,
say
I think they
Lafayette
would be
Trail on
happy.
it.
He would be fine with that. He would, and I guess other people would be happy with it, but
I
But
guess I don't
it is-
understand why he can't put it near the cannery on the trail. Does it lead past the cannery?
no, it
But
doesn't.
it did.
No,
Oh,
it doesn't.
No, it goes
Kathy-
straight down Washington Street.
Kathy, do you know if committing to an alternative design and marketing it separately, does that mean more setup costs? Because I know when Judy first, met with or worked with the vendor, it was not an inconsequential commitment of, I mean, was there a setup cost? Was there a design cost? Was there, some other
I
cost
think
associated?
the answer is yes. I think there's a mold. that they
Yeah,
create
that's
for
what-
this. So there's an expense involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I talked to Judy, when I said, could we consider putting a plaque, but that doesn't have the fleur-de-lis on it and doesn't have the Lafayette Trail on it. And she said that could be done. She didn't seem to think it was going to be any more expensive. So I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. Well,
Maybe
I
you
think we
could
need
ask her-
clarity on that, though.
Yeah, we
maybe
do.
You could ask her, Kathy.
Well, I don't see why it
if there's a
shouldn't have the
setup.
fleur-de-lis on it.
Well, because the
The
fleur-de-lis is
city
kind
has
of,
a French name.
it
mean,
could, but I
If you
think it's
change- if
seen
you
as-
change it, then the people that want that type of medallion are probably not going to want it without the fleur-de-lis.
We can just get
I
rid of the
don't-
Lafayette Trail.
How about a smaller fleur-de-lis?
How about, well, I wouldn't necessarily think that someone would not get a medallion if it didn't have a fleur-de-lis. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that they might go for something that had Concord Point Lighthouse on it.
Yeah, I agree, Carol. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is sort of the logo of the trail now, this fleur-de-lis. I
Yeah.
mean, it sort of identifies the trail.
And
So
it's-
that's why I don't think these other alternative plaques ought to have the fleur-de-lis on it. I argued that point to Ron and Judy.
And it's too confusing because who's going to look
Yes,
at the,
Yes.
wait a minute, it has a fleur-de-lis. but it's
yes, they're going to assume it's this must be the trail marker. Where's the trail?
right, yeah.
So
So just to summarize, you're going to revise the brochure and produce 250 copies as we voted on earlier. The address will now be the one we specified. And then in
Yeah.
the meantime, if you wouldn't mind or someone else volunteer to get the vendor information and clarify if we chose to do a different design, what that would involve. I mean, besides printing up a new brochure, and what we would then want to depict on it. I should think the lighthouse would be the obvious choice, but yeah, let's do that. Okay, if everyone's fine with
Yeah,
that.
and
I'm
Kathy,
fine with it.
Kathy, another question to ask the vendor is, will we have to have 6 of that new design? Because we could be waiting for a long time to get 6 people who don't want to put one on the Lafayette Trail. You know what I'm saying?
I'll have to ask Judy about that because in my conversation with her today, it did just seem like we had to have 6 medallions. They didn't have to be that we could use these alternate medallions if people
Yeah, it's
wanted them.
just a question to ask. I mean, the company may
Yes.
not mind, but
I'll find out. I'll have to find that out.
I don't think we should assume that.
Yeah, I don't think we should assume anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, and are we clear and do we feel good about the verbiage? Remember, we decided that it was a little vague about the place of your choosing. Are we okay leaving it as it is?
I don't know. I might make a little bit just to make sure that is clear, because a location of your choosing, that does refer to the Lafayette Trail.
We know that, but I think a lot of people probably would read it.
I might reword that a little bit, and I'll send it out and see what you think.
Within the
Would
Lafayette.
you-
that'd be great.
I'm still not crazy about mixing up the medallions. So I think if we make it very clear that it's for the Lafayette Trail, maybe we won't get a lot of those requests for someplace
Well,
else.
I'm hoping we won't. I'm hoping we are going to get some, because we've already got some. But I think we are going to get some, but hopefully we're going to encourage these people to put their medallion on the trail, unless they absolutely had said, well, I'm not buying one then.
Well,
Well, then
then,
they're not
then
gonna
they're
get
not
one with
buying,
a fleur de
then,
lis.
then that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they don't
that's
buy
okay.
it.
It's our program, you know.
Yeah, and we don't make, you don't make any money on it. I mean, it's at cost. You
Right.
know, so
I mean, this
it's
is
not like it's a fundraiser or something.
right.
I
It's
think
a
that
trail
don't
mark, a
make them-
very attractive trail marker first and foremost. And then we've offered people a chance to buy one if they choose to.
Yeah, plus now we have the app that matches up with the trail. I mean, there's a point to be consistent, I think. I just don't like a mixture of medallions.
So then the opinion of the commission,
Taking your
Just-
head, yes.
I'm just the city liaison.
I don't want to get Alan Fair all upset. He's been real good to us.
Yes,
Um,
I know.
You
So
know,
that's
everyone
the other-
is equal in my eyes. Come on, guys.
well, we don't want to make people mad.
That's
Uh,
right.
Why would it make someone mad?
Well, Alan Fair wants it in front of the Seneca Cannery.
Well, they can always buy their own plaque and put it somewhere else. But if they want to have it installed in the sidewalk, the city has to do that, you know?
That's
So-
right.
Well, yeah, I do like the idea of marketing a different style that we can make available to people. But of
Because
course,
it does advertise our historic properties. I mean, we like that.
yeah.
Yes, not every structure, not every building in this place is on the trail. The trail is
True.
specifies
Oh, right.
one part of our history. There are a
Right.
lot of other parts, folks.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so maybe it would behoove us to continue to do this if people ask for it, because it marks historic properties, and we like that. And it
Yes.
keeps a good relationship with people. They're
Yes.
going to be, but as far as doing a whole separate thing, that's something we'll have to work
Right.
on.
Can I say something?
Oh,
Sure.
sure. Go ahead.
Yes, Candace.
Please.
I've actually never noticed that there's plaques where the marks are in the sidewalk. But maybe we market plaques if they want to recognize a historic structure that's not on the Lafayette Trail. Maybe instead of trying to come up with something that we put in the sidewalk, we look for something that they could put on their building, and we help them achieve that historical recognition in that way. And then they can put, if they want to designate it towards someone else, they have a little more control over it. But we are kind of the facilitators to get that. But then that keeps the Lafayette Trail, the things in the sidewalk, which I cannot remember the name of right now. And
Yeah.
medallions, thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But if then the medallions are something unique to the Lafayette Trail, and there's no confusion then.
Well, there is
Yeah.
precedent.
My
for
take. I've just
offering-
moved here. I don't know everything, but that was
No,
my
no,
take.
there is precedent, Candace, for offering a unified sign, and there are a few in town. They were done years ago for historic preservation. They're not very big. I'm sure you've
Uh-huh.
seen them. It just gives the date and
Yeah.
I don't even, what else does it give? It
Yeah, it
doesn't-
says pewter, those
they're
pewter
really
plaques.
small. They're really
Yeah.
small. And so that was a standardized thing done, I believe, by the commission at some point.
Okay.
So we could certainly think about that. I mean, I kind of like that idea.
Except if the property doesn't belong to the person that's picking the medallion.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is,
he
if
can
they
do
want to put
Doesn't
like
belong to
the
the-
Girl Alley
Yeah,
there.
I
where
didn't,
Ezra's
I didn't
put the
understand that,
murals.
Carolyn. If the
Oh, I said,
property-
Candace's suggestion was they could put something on the property, but if the property doesn't belong to the person who's getting the medallion, maybe it has some historical significance to that person, but it's not their property, then they can't
Right, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
mount it on the property unless they
Yeah.
got permission, of course.
Right.
But maybe it could, instead of even if you wanted to do the lighthouse, maybe it could put under historic point of interest as opposed to the medallion with the fleur-de-lis and the Lafayette Trail. So the people would understand it's not really part of the Lafayette Trail, but it's a point of interest.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Why don't we put
What do we
medallion
think about it?
second design option on the agenda for next month? Then?
All right.
Idea.
Okay.
Meantime, you're going to go ahead with the brochure for the Lafayette Trail medallion,
Yes.
Kathy, and you're
And
going to
I'm gonna do a little rewording of it and I'll send
Right.
it out to a few of you
change
and
the
see.
address. Yeah.
Okay.
And I know I received, because I asked her for it. Oh, this was months ago. I asked Judy, because, I have missed meetings over the years. And she gave me a list of all the medallions and where they are. And I know there were more just put in. So for some of
Yeah.
our newer members or for all of us, I'll have that list for next month too. So we can, just see as we're chatting what's actually been done. I think that's helpful.
Yeah, I think we have about 26 of them.
Is that what it is up to now? I know
Yeah,
I see them around town. but-
including the two that aren't on the trail.
Right. Okay. In the interest of time, I'm going to jump over item 6. We're going to have people who volunteer. Hello. We're going to have, does he believe in historic preservation, Carolyn? We're going to have to get some folks willing to do the awards. I don't know, who wants to do what going forward, and maybe some people who are willing to attend tourism. I did attend the Lower Susquehanna Historic Greenway meeting a couple weeks ago. It was very interesting. But in the interest of time, I will just summarize that and send it out as an email. But I know a lot of you are aware that there's a whole brouhaha around the 200th anniversary of the visit of Lafayette to the country in 1824. And there's a lot of work being done on the Washington Rush on Blow Trail. And guess what? Havre de Grace is smack dab in the middle of both of those things. So, and what else? Let's see. We talked about the Moore Family Homestead already. Carolyn, you and I are going to work on that whole Maryland law stuff for zoning and historic preservation, right? And what else? Any announcements anybody has? Anything they want to share for the good of the commission?
I just want to let you know, I am a member of the Tourism Advisory Board.
Oh, okay. So you routinely attend those meetings anyway?
Yes, and there's not much happening. I'm their tourism person. That's why I was recruited to join it, and I joined it. I was signed, where they sworn in and everything. So I'm on that commission. So I'll be our liaison with that.
Great. And do you attend the Lower Susquehanna meetings sometimes?
No,
Are you on their
no,
list?
Never been on that. No, I've never been to that.
It's actually very useful because all the people from all the museums in the, eastern part of Cecil County and Havre de Grace, and there's people there from the Harford Land Trust. There's just a whole interesting group of people. Is it okay if I ask Bridget to put you on that list? And then you can,
I'll learn. I want to let me look into it, learn a little bit more.
Yeah, you don't
I've
have
never-
to attend. It's just a really useful thing to read about, because
Yeah,
you may remember one time Bridget came to our meeting, and she's a great source of information.
yeah, I remember.
Especially
I
when it comes
remember.
to getting money. Okay, great. Anybody else want to jump in with anything?
Yeah, so Kathy, Pete and I got my husband out on Sunday, first time. I
Oh,
think
good.
Yeah, he's first time he's been out of the house, I think, to do something other than a doctor's appointment since last October. So,
Oh,
Wonderful.
but what, you know what we did? We did the Lafayette Trail.
oh,
We did it in the car and we used districts. And we followed it. We started out on the north side at the Lock House and then followed it up Union and then down through Washington and some, you know, down through Market Street too. So, and then we stopped at Bon Boys and got ice cream. So in his mind, it was a perfect day.
Oh,
But we really enjoyed listening to the history, looking at the pictures. We flipped through everything. Fortunately, Union Street was not crowded on Sunday, so I was able to drive real slow and pull over and things like that. So
good,
Um,
good.
great.
it's a nice outing for him and for me, and
Mhm.
chance to do something together other than sit in the house. So
Yeah.
Yes.
it was good. It was interesting, and we really enjoyed it. So
Yeah, I'd just like to remind people that you don't have to be on the trail to use the app. You can just sit on your couch and open it up and you can hear all the recordings and look at all the pictures. And just so, you know, if any of you want to do that.
Ah,
Kathy, did
Yes.
you get any statistics on how much use the app gets?
No, I mean, actually, it just kind of just went live. So,
Well, I understand, but I'm wondering, are we going to be able to maybe use that as, you know, an information we can share with how often it gets used and such? No.
I'll have to check with Julie whether the app keeps records of everybody that opens it. I don't know.
they
I
give us
don't
any,
know.
I would.
that would be great.
yeah, did we get any kind of a sticker we could put on the door of the visitor center? Advertising the app and then the fact that it's, I was just wondering.
The rack card is inside and it's also on the little rack of brochures outside.
Oh, okay.
right with
For the app?
Yeah. We
Right.
made a new
And then
rack.
there's also the regular brochure too.
Okay.
Just a quick comment. I was down walking at the Lock House the other day, and there's really some amazing progress being done on the accessible walkway around the old log pond. It's going to be nice, I think. And the new bridge is in, and I understand from Joanne Healy that the city did what they asked them to do. They painted it green and it looks nice. Has anyone else been down there?
I was there today.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, I hope they paint that other stainless steel bridge
I
too.
wish they would. Yeah. I think
that looks good.
I mean, it's a little large. It somewhat dwarfs the Lock Keeper's house, but you know, it makes the area much more accessible for sure.
Well,
So
today they had workers down there laying down some kind of a surface all around the pond, like a plastic surface. And I don't know for sure what's going on top of it, but it's all a path. It was really nice. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
I think it's great. I knew they were going to do that, but I didn't realize it was happening. And I was down there and I thought, so cheers to the city for making that space.
yeah, that was great.
accessible.
Yes.
And yeah, very good. Very good. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm going to write some notes before it goes all out of my head. And and we'll see you next month.
Oh, we're going to do
And
it?
it's the 16th. I mean, I'm sorry, it's the 13th.
I corrected it on the agenda on the city page, but I didn't on the one I distributed to you by email, but I'll send it.
Okay. All
It's
right.
October 13th.
October 13th, 7
Okay.
PM. Yes. And I
All right.
apologize for that error.
See you all then. Probably
right.
talk to you before.
Oh, I'm sure. Adios, everybody. Thank you for
Okay,
joining
good
us.
night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
Bye, Candace.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Everybody. Bye.